If this is your first of my videos, I started this channel to talk about grimdark media, which is a very subjective term that to me means a story occupying a world that is an uphill struggle for the protagonists to an extreme degree, which, in well-written stories, is due to circumstances relevant to the evolutionary psychology of humanity. That's what makes it hit more. In addition to normal story conflicts, a grimdark world is filled with primal themes of survival versus starvation, slavery versus freedom, and a general sense of impending doom or cosmic horror. Focusing on these kinds of stories can help us appreciate what we have, as well as help mentally prepare us for struggles we might face in life more so than other genres. Great examples of universes containing stories like this would be Dark Sun, or the Dark Sun supplement for Dungeons & Dragons, the expanded universe of Conan the Cimmerian, which also incorporates the Cthulhu mythos, and the universe we'll be covering today. It is best described as a spiritual successor to both the original CRPG Fallout games, mixed with the 2nd edition D&D Dark Sun supplement, taking place on a unique post-apocalyptic continent located on a tidal-locked moon where the setting gets its name. Once there was a great advanced intergalactic empire, but that was eons ago. All we know today is what we can piece together from this truly alien world. This is creator Chris Hunt's 12-year developed RPG passion project, Kenshi. If you'd like to see future videos a week early, along with other unique content, go to the subscribe star link in the description box, select any tier to contribute, and sign up as a member of the Grimdark Army. My thanks to the current men and women in service, whose names are seen here. Grimdark. Half off! Inherent to the gameplay is keeping your party alive, escaping slavery or avoiding becoming a slave, and the knowledge that your mark on this world, no matter what you build in the endgame, no matter what you survive in combat, and no matter how big your faction is, eventually, your name will be forgotten like the infinite number of others that came before you. It is a testament to the very nature of history itself. In addition to this, you can be a quadriplegic, also known among fans as a nugget. Kenshi has dismemberment built into its inherent game design. Instead of a single health bar, you have blood, right arm, chest, stomach, right leg, and left leg, all with separate health bars. I actually remember playing this game for the first time, and a friend who had played it before was sitting with me in Discord, and he was like, hey, I was asking him, like, hey, where's the health bar? He's like, what the hell do you mean, where's the health bar? Where's the health bar? Where's the health? But you got all these health bars. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought this was something else. Too much damage in too short a time can result in you losing a limb and later having to replace it with robotics, provided you even have the money for it. Now we get into the lore, and let's be clear here. I got into Kenshi literally last week at the time of recording this, and if I get anything wrong on my lore analysis, feel free to write a long nerd essay in the comments explaining it to me. I will literally pin it for other people. I claim absolutely no lore master status. In fact, I claim a lore dunce status, despite the source list in the description box. The best way to describe the non-human races of Kenshi is in layers. The first layer is truly alien. The second layer is a twist on that alien structure that makes them feel more like a fantasy race, and the last one is a road, no matter how distant, that leads back to a very human feeling. Nowhere is this better represented than in the Hivers. With multiple physiologically diverse insectoid castes divided into queens, princes, and various types of drones for different tasks, this is easily the most alien playable race to ever be written in an RPG setting that I'm used to. Its first twist comes from the fact that despite evolving from a matriarchal species, they reached an intellectual point of discovery in which patriarchy became the functional norm. This leads to their human soul. Despite still having the alien elements of drone castes, their prince caste constantly war with each other for access and control over reproductive rights through access to the queen. The queen is also hidden away somewhere, implying that more civilized Hivers, they have more control over their queen rather than the other way around. They are feudal patriarchal bug people whose constant reference to their queen is an after effect of their evolutionary history, leading into a kind of religious instinct rather than an indicator of current social structures. We actually have a video on the races of Dark Sun, and there is a lot, I mean a lot, of the Thri-Kreen of Athos in the Hivers, though obviously the Hivers still come across as their own original faction, just like all the races of Kenshi. This change can also be seen in the soldier drone non-sexual members of their species who have begun losing their hive mind instinct to do labor, such as Beep, who is a soldier drone cast Hivers seeking to become the world's greatest swordsman and will grow in intellect as he remains in your party. It is likely that they will only become more similar to humans as their evolutionary history continues. The inverse of this situation can be found in the Shek. Originally, humans who either underwent gene therapy to become better fighters or mutated over the course of the past 2,000 years to grow horns instead of body hair, along with being generally stronger than other humans at the sacrifice of intellect. This lower intellect made what one would assume to be a patriarchal honor culture actually turn out to be a meritocracy, with little differences genetically between men and women, other than the population, which is majority female, with the two main faction leaders of the different Shek factions also being women, making them effectively matriarchal. Now, at the time of recording this, I did find another Shek faction that is literally about patriarchy, so again, more meritocratic than matriarchal, obviously. Their honor culture is expressed through their horns, with longer horns symbolizing strong warriors and broken horns symbolizing those who ran away in battle. It's amazing that in 2016 a game was released with a true race of aliens and a true race of subhumans. The skeletons are an aged race that likely once resembled the T-800s of Terminator or the androids of Westworld, but are now truly their own people. Long ago, at a site known as Obedience, great behemoth-sized robots of the same name, who were the last of their ancestors to truly be obedient to humans, were ordered to march to their deaths, which spawned the AI uprising found across many different media containing the concept. However, what makes the skeletons different is the amount of time that has passed since then. They ask the question, when does that fantasy AI we've seen in so many settings become true intellect? The answer to that question is then the moment it begins to feel. The first part of their history is defined by feelings of betrayal with their rebellion against humanity, the second part by feelings of guilt due to their view of kinship with humanity, as well as their desire to redeem themselves in their own eyes during their whole, aforementioned Terminator rebellion thingy. And finally, their current state is defined by a commonality with humanity in the form of various types of observable mental illnesses. These derangements can be as extreme as the skin bandits who turn the skin of humans into their clothes due to a mental disorder assuming that other people are wearing their skin. It's very similar to the skin flares of Warhammer 40k, the Necron subgroup, or as mild as the NPC Burn, who is simply an antisocial hermit protecting a tower of the same name. As soon as I was introduced to the skeletons, they became easily my favorite take on fantasy AI in all of fiction. They fix every cliché associated with the trope with one simple thing: age. Welcome to free will, Mr. Computer, 2,000 or so years later, and it's not all it's cracked up to be, is it? If you want to represent your own weird fiction post-apocalyptic race on a tabletop, you'll need today's sponsor, Ronin Kraft. Ronin Kraft is an independent 3D model printing service that specializes in both sci-fi and fantasy. With an excellent record for customer service on Etsy, you can be sure you're finding quality that surpasses any master. Kenshi takes place in what is likely the most well-realized in-theme wasteland I have ever seen in any kind of post-apocalyptic fiction, taking place not only in an environment totally alien to the now native humans, literally light years away from Earth, but also coming off the highest of highs of a Star Wars-style human empire leading to the lowest of lows. Like another grimdark setting, Warhammer 40k, Kenshi takes place in a giant universe that we know very little about the contents of. However, unlike the negative effects this can have on 40k, in Kenshi, it highlights the areas we actually know about on the titular moon. Across the night sky, a blue world similar to Earth can be seen. By its very presence, it implies a world where there are humans stuck in a similar situation, but having a much easier time in their own part of this cycle of history. With how advanced the First Empire was so long ago, Kenshi's wasteland is highlighted by you living in what is likely a very unlucky planet that is located next to a world symbolizing prosperity always being just out of reach. You can always see a better world, but that world is not yours. Your world is one rich in character, yet poor in everything else. Each biome on the continent you explore could be said to tell its own story. The best examples of this are the Ashlands, Fog Islands, and the Great Desert. Keep in mind, these are only some of the many unique zones found in the open world, around 69 TH. We're not even talking about Hobbs or the Crab Raiders yet. I think Hobbs is kind of like the Maik the Liar of Kenshi. He kind of is already. I hope he's secretly immortal and he can just weirdly ramble on about the great giant skeleton with magical diamond bones or giant demon bones or babadaboop. The Ashlands have the aesthetic of snow, which is delightfully misleading in visuals until the name of the biome pops up on screen. Eventually, after running around a series of robotic NPCs and enemies, you will slowly uncover the truth of this once advanced android-controlled territory, culminating in the boss Mad Catlon, who was a former Emperor skeleton, driven mad by the guilt of his own possible genocide of the humans he ruled over. Most of this is just implied environmental storytelling. The Fog Islands are a cross between the environment of Silent Hill and a 28 Days Later style zombie apocalypse. Devolved Hivers, resembling their previous insectoid behavior, roam the lands, desperate to cannibalize anything they find, and they worship their savage queen like a goddess. While the only real change in Dead Hive Fogmen's design is that they are albino hivers, this simple change makes me think heavily of the 30 Days of Night vampires being theoretically controlled by parasites. The story of humanity is best told through the Great Desert, occupied by the Empire and its neighboring factions, the Holy Nation, as well as the Cannibal Plains. These three human factions are indicative of the three most popular coping mechanisms of humanity when met with overwhelming tragic circumstances: gold, God, and return to monkey. The Empire worships money on a comical level, believing in a prosperity gospel-informed caste system in which coming from a wealthy family is proof of virtue and poverty is proof of wickedness. They are very well written, and I hate them. The Holy Nation live in obsessive devotion to their war hero god Okran, while being ruled over by a warrior pope called a phoenix. They are traditionalist patriarchs who enslave women, and I love them. Lastly, the cannibals are merely savage humans who adapted to not being civilized anymore by simply not being civilized anymore. They eat people, and they will likely eat you. I also love them. There are many awesome and unique animals that are just as adorable to me as they are horrifying. Clear inspiration was taken in the fauna of this world from works such as All Tomorrows, The Future is Wild, and other works of speculative evolution. Chief among these examples would be the beak things, who in the design of the original game were meant to be smaller and able to speak. I personally use a mod to restore this feature, along with the very Elder Scrolls-like Gwar swamp frogs, who were cut for unknown reasons. Beak things are four-legged brontosaurus-like creatures in body, with a large beak on their skull, hence their name, showing convergent evolution with birds, or likely a tortoise-like ancestor given the shells on their backs that act as protection for their spines. Given their previous ability to speak, it is theorized that they may have previously been humans. The land bats, clearly being a reference to the land sloth of our own prehistoric times, are equal parts adorable and horrific, effectively filling the bear role in their biome. Their strange lip structure around their mouth and claw-like hook arms make them incredibly terrifying to face in battle, while also being something you deeply want as a pet for unknown reasons. By far, the most alien of these creatures in the world are the giant insectoid beasts known simply as behemoths. They are gentle giants who are very passive, but like the elephants of Africa, have valuable body parts that can be sold like an ivory trade. They truly resemble the size and legs of a mastodon crossed with the majority features of a tick or lice type bug, feeding in the same way off the surface of the post-apocalyptic planet. Hunting one of these creatures is a testament to both the immorality of the player's controlled faction and the power they now hold. It may be a giant alien, but it'll only attack to protect its young. We are the monsters. There are an infinite number of things to talk about in this world, from environmental storytelling to NPC dialogue or the various human motives of each faction. You won't like any of them fully, but you'll understand all of them. I can't state enough how much I want to do more in this universe and its various aspects. not enough can ever be said about it, so please post your most memorable Kenshi moments and your favorite Kenshi lore below. If fans for this already exist on my channel, then I'll happily be led in any direction in this universe you want me to go. I know for a fact I'll like what I find. Below, I've linked my personal collection of 91 mods designed to make Kenshi more of an RPG than a survival RPG, while keeping to its original lore. I'm also considering doing something of a Let's Play on this channel of the game should my subscribers demand it. Thank you very much for your time, and have a lovely day.